G'day, Laura. How are you doing today?
I'm great, Rob. I'm a little excited to be here, not gonna lie.
All right, awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Today we're going to be talking about the skills you'll gain when you join a beauty pageant. Hopefully you're thinking about joining Legacy International Beauty Pageants, but it doesn't really matter what pageant system you join. These are the things that are going to happen to you. So let's get started. All right, Laura, there's 1,000 things that people go through when they join a beauty pageant. Why don't you kick us off and take us from the top? We've got a bit of a laundry list that we want to talk about. And why don't you kick it off and let us know some of the things that will happen to the delegates as they join their beauty pageant?
I love this conversation because there's so many people out there who don't even know what pageantry is, right, Rob? So I'm speaking from experience. Those of you who don't know me, I went through and won Mrs. Australia and then competed in America, won People's Choice over there. And the journey is quite involved. There's a lot of things that happen along the way with personal growth, especially. And people think it's just tiaras and standing on a stage, sharing a platform or fundraising or something like that. But it's much more involved than that. And so the minute that you decide to enter and go along a pageantry path, what happens then, Rob? Well, we've decided to step into our power, right? Our leadership skills. And the minute that you've decided on doing something big and bold and grand, that's where the excitement starts to happen, because you just start staying consistent and start visualizing and staying focused on your end result, and you just start growing and growing as a leader. It's absolutely amazing. What other things, Rob? Where can we go from there?
Well, there's a laundry list of things that I want to cover off on here. And I'm going to fire a couple of words at you that really come to mind for me, and then that maybe can guide the conversation a little bit. But before I do that, I just want to invite anybody that's watching or listening to this to come on over to the Inspire Greatness community. That's the Legacy International Pageants community that we have. And it's free to join the community. And in there, we've got a whole lot of training as it relates to pageantry. So you can come along and see how we do it, what's involved in our system, and how we help you to build a legacy project. So let's come back to some of the things that happen when you make a decision that you're going to join a beauty pageant, you're going to be part of this. The first word that comes to my mind is confidence. Talk to me about that.
Oh, big time, Rob, big time. Being in life, sometimes there is limitations when it comes to confidence. I don't care how confident you think other people make you feel, or they think you are confident. Sometimes there's that little tiny thing inside of you that is like, oh, I could never do that because, or I can't do this because. And the more and more you step out of your comfort zone and do something that you've always wanted to do, or you think is a great idea, instantly you find inner strength and confidence. Let me share a story for you. I think stories are always great. So of course, I'm not a size 0. I'm not a model. I don't have that body type, and I love my body in who I am. I think everyone is unique and beautiful who they are. However, so many times in life, Rob, we compare ourselves to other people. I think, if you're listening right here and you've had this experience of comparing yourself to others, please put your experience in the comments below. But for me, I was always looking at the other girls in the pageant and going, oh, what am I here? Why am I here? Like, I'm not a size 0. I can't compete against that. But I stuck to why I was there. I really wanted to learn how to give back to my community and how to serve, because I'd built businesses before and I never really truly knew how to give back. And that's why I was there, to grow my personal development. And in the process, I said to Brady, my hair and makeup artist at the time, I said, oh my gosh, like I could never compete against these other girls. They look like that. They're size 0. They look like models, da, da, da. And he was like, stop, Marilyn Monroe. Right, Rob? He is like Marilyn. All he had to say was Marilyn Monroe, and I got it right then and there. I was like, oh my gosh, she wasn't like the typical type size 0. She had voluptuous hips, and she had charisma and spunk, and she created the Marilyn Monroe image, character, if you will, from her mind. That wasn't how she was born. She created that, and she is still around here, and what a legacy she's given to the world. But right then and there, I was like, stop comparing yourself to others, Laura. Just be you, be uniquely you. And so I went out in my beautiful disco, silvery, shiny dress. Everyone else had different dresses that year. I was definitely different. I had a ponytail. I was a bit more edgier. Everyone had more of a classic look, but I just wanted to have something uniquely me. And so I went out in a sparkly dress because I was all about sparkling for every child. And that was my brand. And so I walked out and I just, for the first time, because I thought about Marilyn Monroe and her being her, I went, this is me. And the whole audience just went, oh, gasp. And then I felt like I was floating as I was presented and walked to the audience, walked around in this beautiful dress and walked around. And I had one judge came up to me right at the end and said, Laura, you're above this. You're amazing. Just go out and do you. Like, you've got this already. Like, you know, what are you waiting for, kind of thing. And that was a huge compliment. A lot of other people were coming up to me as well saying, wow, you did such an amazing job, all the things. But my point is, confidence is key. And in that pageant moment, you couldn't buy what I got given. You know, you couldn't buy the experience of me comparing and then Brady saying, hey, and, you know, and then I was like, got it. Stop comparing, because that is robbing your success in life. And so I grew a lot from that. Massive confidence. You guys think I'm super, super confident, but I was born a shy introvert. And so as a 5-year-old, I had to learn confidence, and everything you do that steps out of your comfort zone, you're actually stepping into a more of a confident person every time you step out of the comfort zone. So that's what pageantry can do, help you find inner confidence even more than you had yesterday.
Yeah, it's beautifully said. One of the things that I'm hearing when you're talking about your story and you're recounting that with such passion and conviction, by the way, and thank you for sharing that, is you never really know what you're capable of until you put yourself out there. So it's a hard thing to say, to volunteer and put your hand up and say, hey, I'm going to go in a beauty pageant and I'm going to try and win this thing. That's a very, very difficult thing. One of the things that you and I have decided to do with Legacy International Pageants, instead of taking the traditional path of giving you a platform that you can amplify your message on, we're helping our delegates to create a legacy project. And when you join our free community, you will see that we've got a guide that will take you through over a 5-day challenge to help you set up and build your legacy project. And whatever you want your legacy to be, whatever that might be, it doesn't really matter what it is. That's something that is deeply personal to the individual delegate, and that helps to actually lift them up even a little bit more. And what I've seen happen with the delegates as they're going through the development of their legacy projects is this is something that is bigger than them. And so you put yourself out there to decide that you're going to go and do this pageant, and you're being judged by the judges, and you're in this community and all this stuff that's happening that you've never had before. But one of the things that will help drive you and help uplift you and keep you motivated is the legacy project that you create for yourself, because that's bigger than you and that's bigger than your individual ego, so to speak. So can you offer a couple of comments on that for us?
Yeah, I love that. The minute that you step out of your comfort zone and you step into something bigger than you, and when you start helping and serving your community, there's something that happens. And I like this saying, Rob, it's what you give out is what you get back, or givers gain. And so it's really true. If you're an influencer or a leader and you're trying to build a community, and maybe you're selling products, or maybe you're sharing your life, and you're finding that your audience just isn't growing, or you're plateauing, or you're struggling to monetize your channel or whatever, what I can strongly urge you to do is just try and think, or think about building your own legacy project. Because what happens is you're giving to your community without asking for anything in return. You're serving and giving positive energy. And what will happen is law of attraction will kick in, and then you'll start getting things coming back. I mean, you don't do it to get, you do it to give and let go. But things as a result happen. You get opportunities coming to you. People start watching you. People like, wow. And then you start building the trust and faith of your followers. And then that's when your followers start increasing. So when I went along this journey, I started a fresh no followers Facebook page. And during that process of me competing, winning Australia and then winning People's Choice in America, it was about a year-long process. I grew my Facebook channel from 0 to over 4K within that short. And to be honest, it wasn't until I won Australia and then went to America, that was like a 6-month period, that the traction started really kicking in. So it was really 6 months. I say it's because I built a legacy project. My project is a book that I wrote with all of the profits going to a non-for-profit to help children in poverty. They build infrastructure in areas of poverty, help it, and then walk away. And then and that sort of thing. So long story short, when you're giving to your community, that is when abundance really starts happening. So if you're struggling, if you're an influencer or a leader, I highly recommend looking at the concept of a legacy project. It's not something that you drive, it's something that you build once and then take it to the marketplace and you let it go. And because that's a true legacy. Because remember, a legacy project is when you're passed on from this world and you look back and you can see it still here when you're a ghost flying around or whatever, or in heaven looking down, however you want to say it. Yeah, highly recommend, because it's a beautiful way to live as well, having your own legacy project. How powerful is that, Rob?
Yeah, it's fantastic. And some of the delegates in the community, I see there's one with, it's a wheelchair project helping underprivileged disabled people get wheelchairs, and they're much more expensive than you realize. Then there's one of the teen delegates that we have inside the community who has a project where it's called It's Cool to Be Kind. And she's experiencing all sorts of stuff as she navigates through high school, and she's come up with this idea that all kids should be treated with respect and kindness, of course. And, you know, all of these things go without saying, but she wants that to be an enduring legacy in the early part of her life, that she's created something there where if people are feeling uncomfortable, then there's places for them to go. There's a lot of facilities. And this is just another one of those things out there to help people that are out there. So my question to the audience and the people watching and listening is, what is your current legacy project? Is that something that you've given any thought to, or is that something you've thought about? A legacy project is something that you can work on over an extended period of time. You don't have to bring it to life quickly, although we do have in the community a way that you can do it in a 5-day challenge. It doesn't have to happen over 5 days. You can just get the infrastructure and the thought and the thinking process completed in that short space of time and then begin working. And it might be something that you work on for years and years is really good. One of the other things that I see that's happening to delegates as they decide that they want to be part of Legacy International Pageants is they get a lot of different soft skills. So we teach photography, videography, and what we're teaching to the delegates is we're teaching the mindset of the photographer and the videographer. So when people are out there being photographed or videoed during the pageant and in the lead up to the pageant, it's not something that's making them nervous. It's not something that they're scared of. They're kind of inoculated to all of this happening. So these are soft skills that you need if you're going to build a platform for yourself and you want to become an influencer and you want to grow your reach as well. We talk a lot about branding. We help our delegates with social media as well. But one of the biggest things that I see that happens to anybody that goes in any pageant, it doesn't matter if it's Legacy International or some other system that's out there, is you have this incredible networking opportunity. Typically, the people that are in the beauty pageant that you're going to go in are from all walks of life, from all corners of the country or the state that you might be in, and this creates new lasting friendships and it creates a sisterhood that doesn't otherwise exist. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. I love the sisterhood, Rob. I'm going to talk on that for a minute. Is that cool?
Please.
Because networking is super important. And if you want to be a leader or an influencer and get more exposure, you know, if you just I always look at the most successful people, the people who have gone ahead of us, because there's so much for us to learn. Why would you learn from someone who had done the thing that you want to do? You wouldn't learn anything, right? You have to look at the people who have done and gone ahead. So I look at people like Elon Musk and like the Virgin guy, Richard Branson, you know, and well, they've got most of the largest networks in the whole entire world, right?
Literally.
Yeah, and to be super successful, you really do need a network. And so you're sitting there going, well, how do I do that? Or where do I start? Or I know a few people. I've got, you know, a phone of 500 people there or whatever. But are you actually building that rapport, building that trust? And what are you doing to get out of your house and go network and say hi to people? And so some people go on stage and public speak to get to know more people, because the minute that you're on stage, you become the influencer in the room and everyone wants to get to know you. Some people go do a TED talk because you get more exposure to the masses that way, and then people start following you and get to know you. But what is it that you're doing? And so at the beginning of my journey, I've been in business for 15 years now. I think it was probably in year 5 of my business journey, I decided to figure out how to go network and so forth. Now, I just gave you example of how to get more people following you, but a one-on-one person in face experience is really going to be really beneficial for you, for a person who's going to grow, build the like, know, and trust in your networking. And so what I did at the beginning of my journey. This is a little strategy that if you want more of these amazing tips, just go on over to our free community. It's free for the moment. It might not be in the future. So jump on in, because if you get in when it's free, right, Rob?
Yeah, exactly.
Then it's going to be free for life. So there you go. But the link is below. So basically, I would go in early to a networking event, and then I would look for the most important people in the room. Well, no one else is in the room then, because you're early. They're usually setting up. So you'll know who the public speaker is, you'll know who the host is, and you'll know who the people are sort of like setting up the tables and stuff. So you just go introduce yourself. You don't talk and talk about you. You ask them questions, and you listen. You let them talk and tell you who they are. And you remember a few things about them. Maybe Rob said, "Hi, I'm Rob. I'm speaking here today. I own this business and I like cats." Well, you think about Rob, the cat guy who has this business, and then you get the business card. So you know the 5 most influential people in that room. And when 50 other of the guests arrive, they slowly start arriving, like 30 minutes into it, then the people that you really like you resonate with, like they make you smile. So you know what? I just met Rob. He's amazing. This is his business, and he really likes cats. I think you would like this guy. Let me come over here, and I'll introduce you. And what you do is you introduce this person to that person. Boom. You say one thing that you remember about them and introduce the business. And then you say, "By the way, I'm just going to go over here, but happy connecting," and you walk away. Well, if you connected 10 people that way over the course of an hour or 2 hours, what do you think will happen?
They'll do the same for you.
Correct. They'll do the same for you, but you're also building the like, know, and trust in that relationship. So people will go, they'll remember you as the connector. So the next time you go into a networking event, they'll go, "I got to go speak to Laura because she's going to introduce me to people." So instantly you become a magnet in a networking situation. Stop selling your product or who you are to people, start listening and connecting. And that's where you're going to be very influential in your local community anyways. And then of course, if you want more people exposure, go public speaker. That's the best way to connect with more people quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. It's they're great physical, great advice in the physical world, right? So from the community perspective, for the delegates that come into Legacy International pageants, we do it a little bit differently, and it's because the delegates are displaced, right? You're not in a physical location. We do some physical training in face-to-face training, but the vast majority of the training that we do is online through the free community. And one example is that we work together on activities. So the delegates are paired up, and they need to go and do some photography activities, some videography, some speaking. There might be a range of things that they need to do, and the delegates are going to come together and they work together as a pair. They work on their stuff together, and then they tick it off on an accountability sheet. So you're kind of doing homework together, so to speak. And the reason that this works really well, the reason that this type of networking is really good compared to pageantry and business networking or some other version of networking, is because you guys that are the delegates working together are working towards exactly the same goal. There's no one trying to sell anything to anybody. I'm not trying to do business or get a lead or get a sale or something like that. What you're doing is working on your personal development. You're working on your soft skills and your hard skills as it relates to pageantry, becoming an influencer, a better speaker, a better brand, better photography, better videography, all of those things, a better model. You're working on those things together. And the really interesting part about that is it's hard. And when you do really hard things together, that's when you have the best bonds. That's when you have the lifelong sisterhood that comes together, because you're doing really difficult things together and you're going through hard things together. So that's what builds connection. That's what creates these sisterhoods with beauty pageants. And I think we've refined it pretty well, and we've got our sisterhood to a point that all we need to do is to tip in more queens on the front end to actually grow the whole thing, to give everyone an opportunity. So make sure you come on over and join our free community. Laura, the last point I want to talk about here in this little episode.
Hold up.
Oh, yep,
Hold up, bro. Hold up. I need to go back to that networking thing for just a second, because that's powerful. Do you mind?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So here's the thing. When I competed, you don't realize this is going to happen, but like, you're meeting women who are like-minded, just like you said, Rob, from all around the world. And so usually in pageantry, you have to get to the international finals to network and meet in person. But now what we have, Rob, is we have an online community where they're already networking from a national level, which is the entry point to pageantry before you get to the finals. And so you don't even have to compete in our pageant. You can just join our online training because it's there. The community, because it's there to empower and inspire greatness for all kinds of people who want to be leaders, who want to be influencers, who want to grow their skills. And so, so for me, I met some amazing women who I still do collaborations with today. And just imagine if you're wanting to build a podcast, or you're wanting to build a YouTube, or you're wanting to launch a book, and you had access to all these people who are also doing that thing. Do you think that they might have connections for you in America or in England? Or yes, of course they do. So this is just so exciting for me, because pageantry can really do that on so many levels. It's part of the sisterhood. Once you've gone along this journey, I competed in 2020, I did. And I still have those sisters, still my friends today. We call them sash sisters in pageantry. I can still call them up and be like, hey, and it's like there's no time passed. So that's what we have. And we have opened up our online community to everyone, because why would we just hold it on to pageant queens? That doesn't make any sense. We're here for all the leaders in the world. So I'm very excited. So sorry about interrupting, but I just had to.
No, it's well said, and it's a reminder to the people that are watching and listening that you need to have some version of a network. It's a very critical part of your life. You mentioned Elon Musk and Richard Branson and stuff, and we kind of just use those people as examples and throw away names, but they didn't become successful by themselves. No man or woman is isolated in the world, and you need other people to support you and to help you to make things happen. If you're part of the Inspire Greatness community and you're thinking about launching a podcast, you're going to have a pool of ready-made guests there for you. You're going to have a pool of people that are going to listen and give you feedback and help you to get better. If you're trying to write a book and you're launching your book, whatever it might be that you're doing, there's a community of like-minded people there off social media, away from the white noise of social media, away from the chaos of social media, and the people that are in our community are all moving towards the same goals, which is their legacy project and to inspire greatness. The last thing I wanted to talk about in this one here, Laura, before we kind of went off that little sideways tangent, was leadership. When you join a beauty pageant, leadership becomes suddenly to the forefront of your life, because you become the person who is on stage, walking the runway, and people are all looking at you, and the other delegates around you are looking towards you to lead as something, whatever that something might be as it relates to pageantry. So you might find yourself in a position that you've never been in before, which is going to require you to step up into a leadership role. I always say that there's no such thing as a born leader. Leadership is something that you need to learn, and it's something that is teachable. And through our systems and through our community, it's something that we spend a lot of time talking about, because it's a mindset. Yeah, it's not a physical thing that you're doing. You're not charging from the front on your horse with a sword or something like that in the Middle Ages. It's nothing like that. It's a mindset about communication and how to better communicate with people. And if you've never been exposed to any sort of leadership training, or you've never been in an environment where you're required to be a leader, pageantry is a really great place to start. It's a great place to learn these soft skills and turn them into life skills. And it's a very, very effective mechanism to help you elevate your skills to the next level.
Yes, leadership is awesome. I believe to be an awesome leader, all you need is passion and drive and a sense of, I want to do that. The people who stop themselves are the ones who say, I don't because, or I don't know how. That's just complete failure right there, not moving forward and giving up. But the ones who are true amazing leaders, and I've met CEOs of big companies who I'm not going to name names with, but like I sit down and have tea with these people, and I'm just like blown away at their ability to be a sponge and then learn all the information, then give back to the next generation coming forward. It's just so impressive. So leadership is just wanting to do something amazing and then jumping and figuring it out. And that's why when we take our pageant queens through the online course, the first thing that I do as a queen that comes on board is get them in touch with their core values. Because if you don't know your core values, then you don't know how to make decisions. As a leader, you got to make a lot of decisions. And so you're going to have especially in pageantry, as soon as you have a sash on, you're going to get a lot of opportunities. A lot of companies will come at you and be like, can you come speak for me here? Can you come do an appearance here? Come here, go there, da, da, da. And what I find with people who just go into pageantry for the first time is they say yes to everything, and they're being used and they waste their time. And so through our pageant system, that's why we have this free online training course, because it's so important that these people who go and step into their greatness and become a pageant queen or become a leader, they need support and guidance. And so that's why core values is your internal GPS system, if you will. If you know your 5 core values, I do, family and professionalism is right at the top, and love, and honesty, that's a couple of them right there. If someone comes to me and doesn't seem honest, I'll ask them questions. Okay, who's going to be at the event? What is the event for? What's your goal about the event? If they stumble or they don't look like they know the answers, or they don't look honest in their delivery, I will say no right then and there, because I just know it's not meant for me. So that's how I sort of choose events and appearances, is by my core values. And I ask questions. I always ask so many questions before I say yes and commit, because remember, guys, time is important. You never get time back. Who cares about money? You can always make more money. You don't have money right now? Yes, you do. There's an abundance of money out there. It doesn't matter. Your bank account does not matter. Oh my goodness. Everywhere there is money, everywhere. What are you doing giving to the world? What are you giving to receive? We're not going to talk about sponsorships today. I'm getting a bit sidetracked. This is important. Let's talk about sponsorships for just 30 seconds. People are like, oh, I could never get a sponsor. Oh, well, who am I to ask for? No, stop. Hang on. Are you a pageant queen? Yes. Okay. You're going on this massive journey. You're getting a lot of viewers and a lot of eyes on you. Why would you be selfish and keep that journey to yourself? Why don't you bring on 2 or 3 business people and share that exposure with the business people? You're giving them exposure. And in exchange, they're going to give you a product, or they're going to give you a financial, or whatever. It's so powerful. So anyways, I'm getting a bit sidetracked, but going back, knowing your core values is a great way to say yes and no to events. And that's just one tip on leadership. And then sponsorships, that's another podcast, isn't it?
Well, if I could just pull on that thread a little bit there with you as well, so you're not kind of by yourself there.
Yes, thanks.
I think the fastest way in social media to accelerate your following and to grow your influence is to do a collaboration with known people. So podcasting is a really great way of doing that. YouTube is a great way of doing that as well. And just doing collabs with different people will help you expose your message and your brand to other audiences. So that's a form of self-leadership. So all leadership begins within the individual. What are you trying to do? Why are you trying to do that? What's the purpose of everything that you're doing? And then eventually, as you figure those things out and you understand your core values, that spreads out to other people, and you're starting to influence other people around you with your leadership skills that we've taught you. And that will help you elevate whatever it is that you're trying to do with your legacy project and make it go faster. And once you've reached that point, then it makes sense to be asking sponsors. And it makes sense to be doing that. It makes sense to be opening those doors and figuring out if this is the right time. So when you talk about sponsorship, it's always a matter of timing. It has to be the right time. You can't go and ask for sponsorship for your legacy project or your pageant journey unless you've got that, you've got your core values right, you've got your plan, you've got the self-leadership and all of the things that we've talked about here on today's show. Once that's right, then you'll be able to move forward and to grab onto those opportunities, because they can be some spectacular opportunities. All right.
Just imagine for a sec, Rob, that you're an influencer at home and you're doing all the things by yourself, alone at home. Don't worry, I've been there. That's why I know this journey. It's lonely, especially during COVID.
Very hard on your own. Yeah.
Oh, it's hard. And this is what this community excites me about, Rob. It's just about being able to connect with so many people, and we share the knowledge, and we invite speakers to share their knowledge, and we're just helping and inspiring people all around the world. And now instantly people aren't alone anymore. And this is what excites me. If this excites you, put a yes in the comments below, or wherever you're listening or whatever, do all the emojis, whatever it is. But yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, perfectly said. And remember, folks, the community that we've created is off and away from social media. It's for people wanting to create a legacy project and women that want to be in the Legacy International pageants. And come on over. The link is in the description below. It's right on the screen right now as well. That wraps it up for this show. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks, Laura. It's bye for now.